everyone, and welcome to day 18 of my 40 till 40. So today I want to discuss the dark side. I've been seeing a lot of activity on Facebook that's not new about mental health, toxic relationships, and narcissism. One of them that I've seen lately has been basically that, and I mentioned this on another video, that women that say they were in these types of relationships act like they are perfect. And so I just want to make sure I clarify that perfect and abuse aren't apples to apples. No one's perfect in the relationship. And so I think it can be a pretty insensitive thing to say, and ignorant, meaning not knowing how that could be offensive to a person that's abused. And the other one, I'll have to think about that one. But there's also been some themes that run on my timeline as well. And that's what I want to talk about healing being a journey, not a destination. And how that might look in your new relationship or as you're healing alone. You might be in a relationship and think that, I remember now, that meme or just a saying about don't get into new relationships until you're healed. I think it's a journey. I don't think that it is a destination. I don't think that once you're healed and you're all brand new and ready to go out of the box, new out of the box. I believe that you can be healed in many, many places, right? You can do a lot of work and still find yourself in a relationship or situation that you get triggered or something becomes tender, as I spoke about it previously. Something is touched in the relationship that triggers something. And so you're like, oh, what was that? You're caught off guard because you didn't know that part wasn't healed. And I saw someone talk about it like an onion peeling layers. So once you conquered one level and you think you're okay, you can move to a different level and something get touched. And so I've experienced this on both sides of my relationship. Myself and my partner have found a way that I want to share with you, as you go forward with someone in a new relationship. This is an intimate relationship I'm talking about. You can speak open and honestly about, your past, what you've gone through, and say, hey, you know what? That triggered me. In my past relationship, this is what happened. So when you said or did that reminded me of that, and just checking with yourself to make sure that you're not reading this behavior that you're seeing as the same as the old relationship. And it could be very minor things that remind you or signal something. It doesn't have to be an abusive behavior. It can be a normal behavior, but the previous relationship made it abnormal, right? And so now anytime, it's kind of like you get bit by a dog and now you think all dogs are, Cujo. And it's not that all dogs are Cujo, but you had a bad experience, right? So the dog itself is not bad, but the one that you encountered bit you, right? And so open, honest, and as my partner likes to call it, effective communication can really help you there. You have to be really, really vulnerable to say, hey, I'm just using a really silly example here. Hey, when you turn that light off like that, that kind of triggered me. Now I have an attitude because they turned the light off, or whatever. And maybe this person used to turn lights off on you, and be disrespectful or just disregard, you, or control you, like lights out. It's time to go to bed, in a controlling manner. And so now, you have this thing about, don't turn off lights on me. I don't know. I just thought that up just now, right? But that could be, something. And so, kind of likened to PTSD, when things in normal life might be going on, but they resemble a sound, a smell, or whatever, a feeling. It brings up an emotion that reminds you of a time when you were in a war zone, right? When you were fighting for your life or protecting yourself or whatever. And so that particular thing in normal life is pretty harmless, but it mimics it. Somehow it conjures up something. And so, again, it's really important anytime, even if you think it's really small and maybe you feel stupid or silly, to bring it up to your partner like, ooh, that thing right there, that made me feel this kind of way, right? And not only that, accompany it with, I have to disconnect that abnormal response or feeling, from that action, from this person. I know this person, hopefully the person you're with, you trust them, they make you feel secure, you trust them, you don't have a spirit of offense that they would offend you in that way or hurt you or things like that. And so you don't have to have that anymore, but just to recognize it, address it, name it, and address it with your partner and say, I was attitudinal about that because I'm thinking about it, and that was something that was really taken advantage of in my previous relationship, right? Okay, so this is why healing is a journey, because, I thought I was all good, right? I did all my healing 101, 201, advanced healing classes, or whatever you did to heal. And then you find yourself, you feel like back, not maybe at square one, but struggling with something that you thought, you were done with all of that, right? You had worked out all the nooks and crannies. So be compassionate with yourself, be loving with yourself, realize, remind yourself what you've been through and how those maladaptive things happened to you. The other thing is that, so not only will another partner might trigger you, but you might fall into some old habits, right? The way you used to have to cope, your coping mechanisms, your retaliation techniques, your reverse narcissistic behavior on that person to survive. You might start pulling out that old tool from your tool belt, right? To defend yourself or whatever. You might find yourself falling into old habits, and that's another, surprise. Like, oh my gosh, I thought I was all good. I had gotten rid of all of that, but it can sneak up on you. So again, this is a journey. This is not a destination. It could be years, that something comes up or something rubs you the wrong way or whatever. And I heard a saying about, especially if you had been, in a relationship or married or whatever for however long, and you've been enduring something, it takes half that time of being out of something like that to heal. So you've been into something for 10 years, it's going to take you about 5 years to heal. And I think even then you will have some residual, things happening. And this can be with your intimate partner, like I said, or it can be from, parental abuse. Remember I told you, about siblings, about a boss, right? You might be, messed up where your new job, your coworker, you see behaviors in your boss or your new coworker, and it gets you going, and so don't fret about that. But I just wanted to encourage you on the journey that I am not completely healed. I also put something on there about you're healed when you know you don't cry when you talk about it, or you don't get angry, when you talk about it, or relive the experience, right? Like you're there and you begin to feel visceral emotions. But you know what? Sometimes there's those days and there's those moments when you might react in a different way. So be sure to be okay with that. Be okay with that, and I think to the people that talk about don't get into something new until you're healed. My answer to that is you're never totally healed, including that person saying that from whatever. There's always something residual that might be there. And so then persons will never be able to enter another relationship with that kind of thought that I can't get into another relationship until I'm healed. So just stay out of one, so work with yourself. There's obviously heavy lifting to do, right? And then there's lightweight that maybe a partner could even help you with. And my partner and I have talked about having a training ground. Sometimes, you think, oh, I'm good in that area. I fixed that up. I'm good, right? Well, how do you know that if you haven't had a training ground to exercise it in? So now I'm in this new relationship and I think I'm good on handling this or that, right? But I don't know it until I'm faced with a situation that allows me to exercise it. So that's another thing. Like, do I really know I'm truly healed unless I'm confronted with something and can respond differently or appropriately? So I also need kind of a training ground. So you have to have a partner that is patient, willing, open, and understanding about where you are. And so that's all I have for you today. And I'll see you. If you have any comments, any thoughts about anything I said, leave me something and I will see you later. Peace.